Good evening, everyone. Oh, that was sad. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
That's a little better. For those of you I've not met, I'm the Reverend Jennifer Brower, and on behalf of the members of this congregation and the ministry team, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock, and to this, our first Soulful Sundown evening of the new congregational year. Yay! Very happy about that. Whether you have been coming to Soulful Sundown for years or if you haven't been to Soulful Sundown before, we are glad that you are here. Your presence helps to create and define the community that we form and the shared experience that we have while we're here. Without you, this evening would not be the same. So we're very glad you're here. The musicians of the Cosmic Orchestra and I hope that you will each find something of what you need here tonight. We hope that you'll take the time to introduce yourselves to us later on and tell us how you found us. We always like to know how folks have found their way to us. Soulful Sundown, now entering its 14th year, grew out of the belief that music has the power to convey what words alone cannot, and that often songs serve as the text and the soundtrack to our living. As Unitarian Universalists, are people of faith who believe that there is no separation between the sacred and the secular. The music of Soulful Sundown is for our enjoyment, but it is also the scripture which shapes and guides these services. So tonight you're invited to take in the music, its sound, its silences, the rhythm, how it makes you feel. And if you can't understand the lyrics, and you really need to, then have a look at the screen, but otherwise don't allow the word to get in your way. Here at Soulful Sundown, you are encouraged to engage your spirit, mind, and body. Got that? We want you to feel free to sing along and hum and clap and dance and sway as the spirit so moves. And the music may call you to sway instead of dance, who knows? But truly, you are invited to move. And move without worrying about whether or not you know the song or can dance to its rhythm. No one cares. They really don't. I live with a 13-year-old who's at that very self-conscious stage in life. And I keep saying to him, Nathaniel, no one else really cares. Trust me. Enjoy being here and enjoy being in your body and dancing if you feel so moved. Since music is the foundation of Soulful Sundown, please join me in greeting and thanking our band members for sharing their talents with us. And because I am a lousy MC, I'd ask you to hold your applause until we've said all of their names. I always worry that someone won't get the same amount of applause that someone else received. It really distresses me. So tonight we give thanks for the presence of Pat Falco, who is hiding behind me. Did you stand up? Oh, there he is. Thank you, Pat. And Erica Lee is here with us tonight. We're delighted to have her back. And John Predis is here next to her. And Mark Schulman back here. Ben Wish is with us. And Chris Marshak, our band leader, has pulled them all together tonight. So please join me in saying thank you to them. If you're new to Soulful Sundown, know that after our service, we will set out coffee and cookies, both regular and gluten-free cookies, and then we will transition into our coffee house, which will be hosted by Michael Viseglia, who is here with us. Michael, we are so pleased that you are here with us tonight. Welcome home from your recent tour with Suzanne Vega. I know it was a long and wild whirlwind tour, and you two have been working together for a long, long time, is my impression. Welcome back to Soulful Sundown. We're grateful to have you here with us and to have you introducing us to our guest, Donovan Woods. Is Donovan here in our worship space tonight? I believe he is elsewhere right now, but we are so glad that he could be here with us and that he's added us to his busy tour schedule. For those of you who might not have heard, our friend John Platt, who served as our coffee house host for a number of years, is recovering from a recent stroke. Although he is doing incredibly well, He is doing so marvelously well in his healing. He just was not up to being with us tonight. He sends his warm regards to everyone and hopes to be back before long. We have some cards on the back table. If you'd like to sign a greeting card for John, we'll make sure that that gets delivered to him. If you've attended Soulful Sundown before, you know that our offering is an important part of Soulful Sundown. Tonight's collection will be taken for Farmers Assisting Returning Military, or FARM, which we'll learn more about later on. When last we were together, I mentioned that we would be holding our Soulful Sundown evenings here in the social hall instead of starting in the worship room and then moving here into this space for the coffee house. This change comes about as part of a change in our budget and is, I will acknowledge, a bit of a challenge to be worshipful in. I have a little hard time with this, so I invite you to join with me in working to create sacred space here in this room for yourself and for those gathered around you. Throughout the musical portions of our service, you are invited to silently light a candle of joy or concern. So if you would like to engage in that ritual, know that that is available to you. As I also mentioned when we were gathered in June, the Finance Committee of our congregation asked that $2,500 be raised this year to help offset the coffee house expenses. You may remember my talking about that. 3 months ago, we had raised $500 of that $2,500. Tonight, even as we are just starting this new year, I am delighted to announce that we have raised the total amount. The full $2,500 has been raised already. So we give thanks. Yes, indeed. We give thanks to those generous donors who have made those contributions. And now I know that some of you were hoping to actually sponsor a coffee house and to be more involved in Soulful Sundown. If you would still like to be more involved, please feel free to speak with me after the service or email me anytime. And now as we settle into this time, I invite you to turn off your phones. There is so much music in this evening. You do not need to hear your phone, too. I invite you to take this time to hear the sounds of the lives of others as sung by their phones with the ringers shut off. I invite you to breathe in deeply, to make this our sanctuary space, to be here and nowhere else. I hope you can allow yourself a pause in the routine of your life, a break from whatever it is you are schlepping around in your head and heart. I hope you can allow yourself to just be here and nowhere else.
This one's for the lonely, the ones that seek and find, only to be left down time after time. This one's for the torn down, the experts at the fall. Come on, friends, get up now, you're not alone at all. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. This part was for her, this part was for her, this part was for her. Does she remember? It comes and goes in waves. This one's for the faithless, the ones that are surprised They're only where they are now, regardless of their fight. This one's for believing, if only for its sake. Come on, friends, get up now. Love is to be made. Oh, 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 and this part was for her, this part was for her, this part was for her. Does she remember? It comes and goes in waves. I'm only left to wonder why. It comes and goes in waves. I'm only left to wonder this is for the ones who stand, for the ones who try again, for the ones who need a hand, for the ones who think they can. It comes and goes in waves. I'm only left to wonder why. Yeah. It comes and goes in waves. I'm only left to wonder why I tried. Oh, 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 oh,
It is our first service together in a long, long time. You all have been doing what you've been doing, and I've been doing what I've been doing. And all the while, I have been thinking about you who come to Soulful Sundown. As we start this congregational year, I have been holding in my heart and mind the community that gathers each and every month, the long-timers and the folks who are new to us every month. Yes, even the newcomers, too, have had a place in my thoughts and in my heart. In my mind's eye, I have seen the committed UUs and the ones who aren't quite sure what UU even stands for yet. And I've been thinking about what first brought you to Soulful Sundown and what brings us back together month after month. I've been thinking about who we are here and the spiritual community that we are ever creating. And as I've sat with these thoughts, I have been hearing that song that the Cosmic Orchestra just offered for us, Comes and Goes. And I have discerned that this one, this Soulful Sundown, this that we create together is for the lonely and the ever over busy, for the ones that seek and the ones that seek and find, and the ones who have been let down time after time. This community that we create is for the torn down, the experts at the fall, and the ones who say, come on now, get up. You are not alone at all. Soulful Sundown is for the faithless and the ever faithful, and for the faith completely confused. It's for the ones who are surprised by where they are in life. And for me, and for you, it's for the joyful and the weary, the uncertain and the assured, for the tender and the fierce and the stubborn and the sometimes ignored. It is for we who are resilient and those who aren't sure. Ours is a community that says, come on, friends. Come on, get up now. There is love to be made in this world. Love, the kind of love that transcends romance. Love for yourself, for difficult family and friends, for prickly neighbors and strangers, and every element in the interdependent web of life. Here at Soulful Sundown, we say, come on, get up. Love is to be made in this world, and it will be work, and it will be worth it, and you can do it. This is the place for the ones who stand, for the ones who try again, for the ones who need a hand, for the ones who think they can, and the ones who wonder why, and how, and when, and what, and who. We here at Soulful Sundown are a community of seekers. In our gathering, we make the time and space to reach within through the clutter of our interior lives to find that which resides at our center and guides us in being our truest self. We dig down to connect with that which roots and grounds us. We reach out to one another, to friends, to strangers even, seeking and acknowledging our connection as members of the human family. We reach out to experience our unity and the joy of our fellowship. We gather in community to be reminded that we are not alone. And we reach upward and downward and sideways and within towards something greater than ourselves, to the greatest good, sometimes called God. We stretch upward, not because we are lesser than or subservient to the holy, but because more often than not, we hunch down and play it small in life. We are here to urge one another to rise to our full height and our highest aspirations, to be all that we actually are. And we return to this, the liberating, worshiping community, over and over again to be reminded of all of this. Our knowing, our assurance, our hope, our sense of belonging comes and goes in waves. And so we meet each month to be reminded of just who we are and what is most meaningful. We come back to each other to receive what we need, to know our presence here matters, and to sense what is possible in us and in this world. The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. The chalice bowl represents the cup of life from which all people drink. It represents all that we share. And the flame that burns within is the light of the eternal, the energy of creation, a portion of the fiery star from which all of the elements of life exploded. I kindled this flame in our chalice with gladness for each person here, and with reverence for the spirit of life that flows through and between us all. boy, do those Avett brothers come up with good songs of yearning. I think every one of their songs is yearning in some way. Yearning for trusted friends. Yearning for understanding. Yearning to feel natural and safe, even in a volatile place. Isn't that a glorious sentence? The idea of feeling natural and safe no matter what. The song captures the yearning to feel that we belong and the hope that we will remember that our life is made possible by the help of others and that we each have debts to be repaid. And then there is the deep yearning to live with pride, not self-righteous arrogance, but the pride of authentic living, the pride of knowing we've done well with our living. We've truly done our best with this gift that we've been given. I believe that we all have all of those yearnings. We yearn for that perfect space in our heads and hearts, that perfect space in relationship with others, in relationship to ourselves, and with the God or universe or whatever you call that central reference point in your life around which everything else is organized. We want to be in harmony with all of that and all of life, and to live lives we can be proud of in the end. And we can, but not accidentally and not without effort. But we can. All of the ways of being that we yearn for in life are the fruit of intentional work and discipline. They are the fruit of our labor and a fair amount of luck. They are like the harvest we reap after planting, tending, and a long season of growing. Although it's only mid-September, I feel us moving ever closer to the harvest season this year, even for those of us who never touch dirt, and I would be one of those. Like, ooh, dirt. There are bugs in that. It's dirt. I'm sorry, it's dirt. I don't care. People are asking where they can take their children to go apple picking. Butternut squash has made its way back onto the menus in different restaurants in the neighborhood, I've noticed. And we here at UUCSR are planning already for Thanksgiving dinner. The harvest season is moving along. And as I have been thinking about the harvest season, I have been thinking about what it is that we plant in life. What did we set out to grow in our lives? What is it that we expect to harvest or bring in this year? My thoughts have been fueled in part by the gym where I have been working out. The gym ceiling is covered in brown rolls of insulation, which reminds me of carefully hoed rows of earth. Much to the chagrin of the trainer with whom I work, I look up at the ceiling a lot. And when I look up, I see wide open rows of fertile soil ready to receive the hopeful seeds of each gardener at the gym. Each of us there working out is hoping to grow something: strength, health, healing, fitness, speed, agility, prolonged youth, inner peace, companionship, a greater connection to one's marvelous embodiment, and who knows whatever else. But all of us are there, growing something or trying to. Even as we share this garden space, no two of us are planting the exact same seeds or hoping for the same harvest. And it's a great big farm or garden. There's space for each of us, for our individual work, our planting and tending. There's space for our growing. There's room for us to walk between the rows and admire each other's labors, to share our experiences and to learn from one another. It is an awesome field of great possibility, and all in a ceiling. This awesome field of possibility is also true for the religious community and the spiritual life and the community that we create at Soulful Sundown. Here in Unitarian Universalism, there is a field of possibility for us. There is plenty of space for us to grow our soul, as we say. There is space and fertile soil for each of us to plant the seeds of our unique theology. And our theology is unique because no two of us experience this life the same way. There is plenty of space and fertile soil here where we can grow lives of deeper meaning, of thoughtful relationship, lives of authenticity and openness, strength and flexibility, and honesty. Lives which will be for us a source of pride. And just like the physical growth of a field, the spiritual growth of a person is natural and organic. It's happening all of the time, whether we realize it or not. By all that we do in life, we are planting seeds, seeds for our living and the seeds of our legacy. They can be seeds of mercy, honesty, humility, kindness, compassion, devotion, resilience, gratitude, and joy. Or they might be something else, like seeds of bitterness. Let us be careful gardeners of the soul. Wherever we are, whatever we are doing, seeds are being planted and are beginning to germinate. Let us tend to them with great care. We will reap what we sow.
So good seeds, everybody. So good seeds, everybody. On the mountain, down in the valley, you're gonna reap just what you sow. So by walking, so by talking, so by everything you do, don't mind no one, keep on sowing. You're gonna reap just what you sow. So good seeds, everybody. So good seeds, everybody. On the mountain, down in the valley, you're gonna reap just what you sow. Hark the voice from Jesus calling. Who will come and wake the dead? Tombs of mercy, harvest waiting. Here am I, oh mercy me. Talk about you, they vilify, call you everything except child of God. They don't mind you, what they're saying, they're gonna read. to see.
So good to see
Everybody.
everybody.
So good to see.
So good to see
Everybody.
everybody.
On the mountain. Down in the valley.
Down in the valley.
You're gonna reap just what you sow. Song, you hear the refrain a couple times, but it never feels great until the whole room is singing along. So we'd love for you to join us on the last two if you can. Feel the spirit move you and sing along. We'll give you one with the band and then you guys are on. It's your solo, okay? So good to see everybody. So good to see everybody on the mountain, down in the valley. You're gonna reap just what you sow. Come on. So good to see everybody. So good to see everybody on the mountain, down in the valley. You're gonna reap just what you sow. We gotta do that one more time on. Come on, come on. So good to see. Let's fill it up. Come on. Everybody. There you are. So good to see everybody on the mountain, down in the valley. You're gonna reap just what you sow. You're gonna reap. You're gonna reap just what you sow. One more time. You're gonna reap just what you sow.
This evening's collection is taken in support of Farmers Assisting Returning Military, otherwise known as FARM, a really small 501c3 organization founded by two veterans in Texas. FARM founders Stephen Smith, a name that will be familiar to many in this community, not the same Stephen Smith. FARM founders Stephen Smith and James Jeffers served in the Army together during various deployments in Iraq and beyond between 1999 and 2009. After returning from 2 tours in the Middle East, James and Steve struggled with health issues, and they encountered difficulties readjusting to civilian life. During this time, they began growing organic food for themselves and their families, and ultimately their health began to improve, as you might imagine, and their need for some of their prescription medications began to decrease. As strong advocates for growing and consuming organic food, they both became heavily involved in the local organic food movement. Not only did James and Steve realize the improvement in their physical health, they found farming to be rigorous, regimented, and rewarding work with some extra special benefits. They discovered the act of farming to be very therapeutic and grounding for them. They discovered what they called dirt therapy.
Veterans aren't broken. They leave a career where they had a real mission and purpose. They leave a career where they're surrounded by their peers, other veterans, and when they leave, they don't have a lot of the same support wherever they go to. Just because they're leaving the military, that doesn't mean they're leaving behind their mission of making our country a greater place. When they get into the civilian world, society is completely different. You know, you're not surrounded by your peers every day, and your tribe is gone. It's miraculous almost to see the transformation when someone comes to the farm, hangs out with somebody for 20 minutes in the tomato patch, and feels like they just had 5 years worth of therapy. Have you ever met anybody that's done 10 tours from any other war? I mean, what does that do to someone's mental state? I've heard people call, veterans weak because, oh, it didn't happen to my grandfather in World War II, or you're damn right it did. And there was suicide then too. And you know what there was? There was a therapeutic agricultural program in the VA system And there was a farm behind almost every VA. After World War II, a lot of guys went back to the farm. There's studies that show that your hands in the dirt, the actual enzymes in the soil, side by side with pharmaceuticals, the dirt works better. That connection with nature and the ground is grounding, and it helps you see life in a different way. I don't know any other way to describe it. It's exactly what we needed. By offering that to our peers, we can give them that same hope. What we actually do is provide agricultural training and agricultural therapy for veterans returning. Programs that introduce veterans into careers in agriculture and surround them with their peers in a safe environment. Tilling up the earth and planting something and hanging out with their peers, just that in itself is just, there's a sense of purpose, and when that light bulb goes off, they know that that's what they want to do the rest of their lives.
I ask you to please join us in making a meaningful offering to those who have served our nation and come home in need of our support and care. If you are writing a check tonight, you can make it out to Farm or to UUCSR with Farm in the memo. And someday we'll be so high-tech that we can swipe credit cards during a service. We can just dream. Our offering will now be received. invite you to join now in a time of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love, called by so many names, we are gathered here in this space this evening, each coming with our own needs, each coming to this space with our own hopes. Let us pause for a moment to turn our energy toward those candles that have been lit in the candle box. They represent so much more than we could possibly imagine. Whether or not we have stood and gone over to that box and lit a candle, each one of us has lit a candle in our heart for something tonight. May we feel the support of those gathered here as we tend to that flame. In this space, we know there are folks who are bereaved. May they feel upheld. There are folks in this space who are worried. May they feel eased by being here. There are folks here who have some great joy that they would love someone to share it with. May they find someone tonight to tell that story to. For these hopes and prayers and thoughts, and for those held in the hearts and minds of every person here, I say, so may it be, and amen. As we prepare to go forward from this time and space, may we hold in our hearts the truth that little seeds grow mighty trees. Like the little acorn, each of us has profound greatness within us. May we tend to those seeds. Our music has been quiet tonight. This last song, not so quiet. I invite you to rise and dance or flail in whatever way feels good to you. It's a little fast.
This little squirrel that I used to be slammed her bike down the stairs. They put silver where her teeth had been, baby silver tooth. She grins and wins. I know all this and more. Take your head off, boy, when you're talking around, around, around the tree. Silver baby, come to me. I'll only hurt you in my dreams. I know all this and I know all this and I know all this and more. So take your head off, boy, when you're talking to me, and be there when I feed the truth. So take your head off, boy, when you're talking to me, and be there when I feed the truth.
We can announce our collection. Our ushers are so fast at counting. We have raised $541.26. Very nice. Thank you very much. Lovely. And so now we move into the next phase. Thank you all very much for that. You may rise. All right, I got all my stuff here.
Wake up,
I had fun.
and it just
a lot of fun.
stays bad. It hits me like a sickness.
Choking in clean underwear, bleeding tongue,
Hey everyone,
8 ball
that's me. Come on, look up here. Hi.
too short.
Does everybody have their coffee and cookies and stuff? Because we're gonna start. We're imminently starting. You guys seem pretty busy. I know there's food and goodies. It's hard to kind of grab your attention away from them. So anyway, the first thing I want to say is, some of you have probably seen me here. I haven't been here in a while, but it's always a joy to do this. And whenever I'm invited by Chris, by Jennifer, I'm extremely happy, and I'm very happy to be here today. And I want to say something. I know that Jennifer is having a little bit of an issue with this space, but let me assure you that anywhere that Jennifer Brower speaks becomes a sacred space. So you guys make the church, you and she make the church happen. It's all about the people as much as anything else. So we have a big treat here. But before I get into that, I also want to take the time and acknowledge John Platt. I know he's recovering from something, and I want to wish him the best. And I think, as you guys know him a lot better than I know him at this point, so please keep him in your thoughts and send him good vibes. And I'm sure he'll be back before too long. So we have an interesting artist today, and it made me think it made me think about one of the great things about being an American is that we are enriched by our contiguous neighbors to the north and to the south. Despite what our government might say, we know, the people who know really know that we are enriched by that. And today we have a performer from Canada, our northern neighbor. And he has really, it's so great to do these hosting gigs because I get to learn and I get to hear new people that, I grew up in the singer-songwriter world. That's how I still make my living. But there's so many I don't know. And, just to discover Donovan Woods, it was a treat to do a little bit of investigation and hear him and, go online and listen to his tunes and kind of check out what he's been doing. And it's a pleasure. And I'll just tell you a little bit about what he's doing. First of all, he was born in a town in Canada called Sarnia, which immediately makes me think of wood nymphs and gnomes, and it sounds like a magical place. It's got to be Sarnia, right? Who doesn't want to go there? See what's going on there. Pots of gold and rainbows. Anyway, Donovan is really making great headway as a singer-songwriter. He's got 5 records out, and I'm sure some of them will be available later if you guys want to go check out the merch table. His latest record is called Both Ways. That's the 2018 release. He's also had songs recorded by none other than Tim McGraw. Covered his songs, Lady Antebellum. So he's not doing too shabby. And one thing that was really fascinating about it is when I went to look at some of his videos, he's got beautiful videos from. There's a song called Next Year that you could look at the video, and there's another song called Burn That Bridge, and they're poignant and they're provocative. And so you can tell that this is a very thoughtful, sincere performer. And if you think about the royalty that we've had from Canadian singer-songwriters, whether it's Leonard Cohen or Neil Young or Joni Mitchell or Jane Siberry, if you people are interested in her, you should check her out. We've been the benefactors of so much great music coming from up north. And if you like people like John Prine or Steve Earle, I think you're going to really like Donovan Woods because he's a storyteller. And there's no throwaways, there's no cliches. There's real personal stories that'll move you with a beautiful, soulful voice. So I want to bring him out now, please. Donovan Woods.
I gotta live up to that introduction. That's incredible. Thank you. I should start by saying that Sarnia is not a magical place in any way. Can't imagine that there's any wood nymphs. If there are, I have certainly not seen any. It has benefited greatly from the Chronicles of Narnia franchise. Tourism has gone through the roof, but it is in fact a petrochemical town. Businesses like Imperial Oil and Exxon and lots of other businesses like that. I grew up on a beach, and often the beach was closed because the water's polluted. So, hey, work with me. Come on here. All right, it might be magical, but what I'm really getting at is that it's magical inside all of our hearts. I don't know. So yeah. I'll tell you, I'll extend the Canada-America friendship. I think we're going through a rough patch, but I think it's going to work out fine. I think it's almost laughable to everybody involved. but it does feel like our roughest patch recently. I think we'll work it out. But I'll tell you, I never had anybody. I spent a lot of time writing songs in Canada and trying to give them to people, and I moved to Nashville, and famous people recorded my songs in like 6 months, and I get it. I understood America as a place where opportunity was present and available, and then I experienced it firsthand. People suddenly were interested in what I did and allowed me to make a living doing it, and I'm forever grateful. And it's been really a wonderful experience in Nashville. So I love America is what I'm saying. So even though we're going through a rough patch with our good-looking Prime Minister, everybody's just jealous because he's so good-looking. I'm sorry. He's so great. And sometimes people get mad at him, and I just say, you know what? Let's just enjoy it, because it's going to be an old white guy pretty soon again. So let's just enjoy this good-looking guy with all his hair. So part of my job is to go to Nashville. I write songs with famous people down there, because famous people don't remember what it's like to have problems. So I go down and I explain to them what problems are like and what it's like to have issues and feelings. And they do need help with it. I wrote this with the lead singer of Lady Antebellum, big tall handsome fella named Charles Kelly, really handsome guy. So he said he wanted to write a song about why they say the word crazy in country music so much. And they do say crazy a lot in country music. And this is what we came up with. It's called What They Mean. Little boy in the backseat asking, why do all of these songs keep saying, baby, you're driving me crazy? Why do they always say that same thing? I said you don't know what it means till you're 16 and you're driving around feeling afraid with your favorite girl on the bench seat, trying to speak louder than your heartbeat, and you're working hard to get it right, thinking about it, but you all night 'cause she drives you wild with a single smile. She's so fine, you're going out of your mind, and that'll all make sense someday. That's what they mean when they say crazy. That's what they mean when they say crazy. Well, how about when they talk about heartbreak, and somebody's always leaving, you just can't get them back. Tell me, have you ever felt like that? I said it happened to me when I was 18, helping to pack for the IME, and I watched the car drive away. Loved her too much, asked her to stay. My friend said, you're gonna be alright. Thinking about it, kept me up all night, so I called her 1,000 times. Well, she must have thought I was out of my mind, and you'll probably gonna feel that way someday. That's what they mean when they say heartbreak. That's what they mean when they say heartbreak. That's what they mean when they say crazy. That's what they mean when they say crazy. I know you didn't ask, but at 22, I found one I just knew when I bought a ring. And she said I do, and we settled down, then had you. And everything just keeps on getting better. Growing old together. That's what they mean when they say forever. That's what they mean when they say forever. That's what they mean when they say crazy. That's what they mean when they say crazy.
That's what they mean when they say crazy.
Thank you. Thanks. All right. That was the first one there. I'll do the second one here now. I won't talk that much before each song, don't worry. I'll just talk a little bit. It's a song that I wrote about my friend Steve. Oh, I love this little candle box on wheels. It's fantastic. I wasn't raised religious. Don't apologize. I apologize for my non-knowledge of what that is. There's probably a name for that. I'm sorry. Candlebox. You guys nailed it. That's a great name for it. Can't think of a better name. So this is a song I wrote about my friend Steve. I have my best friend that I grew up with. I wrote a lot of songs about him. I've written about 5 songs about Steve. He's a great guy. Sometimes my girlfriends will say, "When do you think you'll write a song about me?" I'll say, "I don't know, but listen to this new song about Steve. See if you like this." But she understands because Steve's a great guy. This is about Steve's job. Steve drives an armored vehicle. He's for like a Brinks truck driver. That's what he does. So I was thinking about how his job relates to mine. And sometimes I'm touring and I'm out in the middle of nowhere in a truck that's filled with money from all the concerts. And sometimes you feel very vulnerable. And I was thinking that Steve and I's job is probably not so dissimilar. It's called Truck Full of Money.
Part of the thrill, you think you might die up there. You think you might keel over sideways. Wouldn't that be something to see? Any guy here could learn to sing like this. She might love you,
Thank you. Okay, so that's that one. That's 2. Move on to number 3 now. That's okay. This song, I think one of the lamest things that you can say, and I have this problem when I go around to other parts of the world, is that I have to say, this song was a hit in Canada, which is about the goofiest thing anybody can say, is to say, this was a big hit in Canada, trust me. Everybody up there just singing it out in the streets. Believe me. But this one was. It's called The First Time. I wrote it with a fella who lives in Cape Breton. It's a little island at the bottom of Nova Scotia, or it might be at the top. I can't remember right now. I think it's at the top of Nova Scotia. And I think probably he thought it was about recreational drug use. Side. Yeah, maybe the side? Anyway, we can look it up later, and we can all go home, run home to our atlases. Like you do. And when we were writing it, I think he was thinking it was about recreational drug use, but I was thinking it was about love the whole time. It's called The First Time.
You were up all night, 'cause you wanted so bad, but you know deep down
All right. I'll tell you, it's nerve-wracking to drink water in front of this many people. That's the thing. That's the most stressful part to me. I'm not bothered by sharing my emotions publicly, but it's drinking water is stressful. I bet my mouth looks gross or something like that, you know. You know how it is. This is a song called We Never Met. It's about breaking up in a kind of more mature way. So mature that you pronounce it mature. There it is. Let's just say that the party never happened. I never noticed your eyes. So it stands to reason you didn't leave with me if we never met that night. So I guess I don't know what it's like to love, what it's like to hold. And I guess that when I left in the mall, I couldn't wait 2 days to call. So I'll say I never knew you well, 'cause on the night you left, you said, let's pretend we never met. I ain't lonely, 'cause I don't miss you, 'cause there ain't no one to miss. I don't pine for you, I don't dream of you, I don't long for your kiss. But who's to say that all that love we made, all that love remains on me? And who's to say that early in the morning I wasn't always sullen, I was riot sometimes. I'll say I never knew you way. 'Cause on the night you left, you said, let's pretend we we never my girl, even get hearts on me. Boy, girl, my girl, I hope it's better this week. My girl, even get hearts on me. But I'll say I never knew you way. 'Cause on the night you left me, you said, let's pretend we Thank you. Okay. So I'll just do a few more here, and then the band is going to come up and join me for one big rouser at the end, you know. This is a song I wrote with a friend of mine named Abe in Nashville. Now, Abe and I don't get along. We're not close friends. In fact, we fight most of the time. And unless we're writing a good song, we're generally arguing about something. But we write good songs together, so we continue the friendship. But man, do we fight about stuff. But we got this in between fights. We wrote this. I thought, that's the best one I've ever done. I thought, nobody takes that one. I'm going to keep it for myself. Everybody get away from it. I love this song, I thought. And then Tim McGraw asked to take it, and I said, you can have it. Take it, but because here's why. I'm trying to get rich in a big way. I want to get like a Prius wagon, something nice. You know, just really eat it up. You know what I mean? So I let him have it. I got to meet him, though, and I'll tell you, he's very fit. Very, very fit. He's like a coiled muscle at all times. He's like a intense guy. Intense to even see him. When you see him, you're like, oh, hey, Jace. Is this guy? This guy's here. Hopefully you all get to see him someday. Tim McGraw. So this is a song. It's about Portland, Maine. It's called Portland, Maine. It's not really about that. It's about how long-distance relationships are hard and maybe impossible. We use the word Portland, Maine in it as the chorus as an example of a city. And everybody in Portland, Maine got really upset. But I don't care. That's not my problem. I'm an artist. You know what I mean? I can do whatever I want. Here it is. I don't want to be talking on the phone every night. drive into our atlases, like we said. We all made an agreement to. Oh, that's a little cartoon. This was called What Kind of Love Is That? 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 Did you find it in the dark night? Whisper in the night. Did you bet your all it always had your back? What kind of love stronger than the broken places? Fills up the lonely spaces. Picks you up when you fall down. Drives you home when you drop that down. Fall off the edge of the world 'cause it's going flat. What kind of love is that? 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 You take all it can get, align you with hatred, turn a sunny day into hell. What kind of love just criticizes, ostracizes, cuts and emphasizes, turns its back on you, friend, walks away when the end begins, leaves you on your wheels, come off the track. What kind of love is that? What kind of love is that? Say my name so sweet, steal my heart complete. Dance with me, you know, it's scratched. What kind of love stronger than broken places? Fills up the lonely spaces. Pick you up when you fall down. Sets you right when you're spinning around. I spend my life trying to learn how to love you back. What kind of love is that? What kind of love is that? What kind of love? Thank you. All right, so I have kids. I got 2 kids. I got a 6-year-old boy and I got a 4-year-old girl. And so I just cry all the time. I'll cry whatever I want. I'm just, you know what it's like. I have to be away from them to do my work sometimes, so I'm sad and I'll cry at anything. I cried at a willow tree one time. It looked beautiful. I'll cry whenever. I cried on a plane to Kung Fu Panda 2 times. It's a good movie. So I was in an airport one time, in the Toronto airport, and I was sitting there with a business guy, and we were talking about, you know, a business guy. Guy who does business. We were talking about leaving our kids and how it was a drag to do that. And over the loudspeaker came on the Harry Chapin song, Cats in the Cradle. That's rude. They shouldn't put that on in an airport. Especially Monday morning for the traveler people. It shouldn't be on the playlist. Who's ever doing the playlist is cruel. It's not funny. So there we were listening to this sad song, thinking about how we were never going to truly know our own songs. And I thought, I better make up a song so at least my son knows that I was crying at Kung Fu Panda. I wasn't just having a good time the whole time. So this is what I wrote. I wrote it with another guy in Nashville. He wasn't as into it as I was, but this is what we wrote. It's called Next Year. Yeah, there's a video for it online. Boy, you got to look at my face a lot in that video, I'll tell you. So you got to be in the right mood for it. I don't watch it, but if you want to watch it, I live inside my own body, so I'm good. I know what I look like. But if you want to look at that, go for it. Got 60,000 people tricked into doing it so far. It's pretty good. You can be next. Okay, so your whole, thank you. Thanks very much. Your whole lovely band here is going to join me for one. I guess you guys are all used to having this many talented musicians to hang out with. This is a treat for me. Usually it's just me alone, just being sad, singing sad songs by myself. Unfortunately, I have to tune this guitar down a little bit to do this song, so bear with me for a moment.
Now, is this harder or easier than taking a drink of water?
It's all right.
It's harder, I think.
Put the step down. It would be D, G, and then
Oh my god, my brain right now. C.
C. Thank you. And then what after that?
F.
That makes sense.
Takes a village.
Takes a village to tune one guitar. And then A.
And then A.
And then D again.
Yes.
Whew.
What does that spell?
So maybe I'll get to telling you the story about this song while I do this. I'm sorry. Here's the thing about me. I'm a songwriter. I wouldn't call myself a musician. Not a big music guy. This is a song I wrote. I was in a hotel in Ann Arbor. I was going to play in Ann Arbor the next night. I was staying alone in a hotel in Ann Arbor, and they had a wedding the next morning. It was a Friday night. They had a wedding Saturday morning, and it was about 1:30 a.m. And I guess these bridesmaids had waited as long as they could wait for the rain to stop, and it wasn't stopping. So they went into the courtyard of the Ann Arbor Garden Inn, and they put up the bows for the wedding in the pouring rain, getting ready for the wedding the next morning, I guess. I watched them all do this in the pouring rain, put up these wedding decorations, and I thought, why does this make me so sad? And usually when something does that to me, I go, that's a song in there probably. Now when you're a songwriter, a lot of people say, most of your idiot uncles, I'm sure these people can attest to that on stage as well, that people you're related to, when something funny happens, they go, hey, there's your next song for you right there. And you gotta go, can you shut up, Uncle Larry? I'll come up with the song ideas. You just enjoy them. So, but this was, usually when something like this happens, I know it's something, there's something there. So I watched these women get ready for this wedding, and I thought, I wish this didn't make me sad. I wish I looked at that and felt nice about it. And this is what I wrote about it. It's called Another Way.
Got married at a hotel.
Thanks very much for listening. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming, and I'll be hanging around. So thank you. I appreciate you having me. All these guys, too. Thanks very much for playing. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Hey, let's hear it for Donovan Woods. Please put your hands together. That was really great. And the Cosmic Orchestra, Chris Marshak. And I'd like to thank Jennifer for having me and Chris for having me. And say hi to Donovan before you leave and check out his merch table and check out his records. I think you might want to take some of them home. And he will be playing. The closest gig that he's got coming up is at this place called the Fun House at Mount Smalls in Millvale, Pennsylvania. And that is on, when is that?
Oh, goodness, I don't know.
Oh, damn.
That sounds really fun, though, doesn't it?
It sounds great.
The Fun House? I might be able to tell you.
Anyway, I don't have a date on that, but you can go to his website and find it.
month.
It's this month. It's in September. It's coming up. So thanks. I'm really glad to be here, and I hope to be here again. And this is always a great place, and I hope you are all better off for being here as I am. So thanks and good night.